Have a shot. 30 seconds. I'm on right now. I don't believe you.
Run.
What?
Muchachos, very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on the stream. This is the Brews at 10. On my left eye, I'm your humble host, Lefty. A very warm welcome to everybody. Happy budget day indeed, idiosyncrasy. The dreaded budget day. We'll be getting into that. Hope you've all applied the appropriate amount of ointments. It stings a bit, doesn't it? Yeah, it's not great. We saw what was coming here at my left eye. I'm sure that some of you marvellous viewers did as well. So we'll go into that after PMQs, of course. It's a Wednesday. PMQs featuring Keith's Catchphrases. Bit of a twist, sort of a budget version this week. I'll explain why as we get into that. But for now, get yourselves comfortable. Please do hit thumbs up as you join us on the stream. Let's brew this thing. Also, Morbius joining us in the chat. How you doing, Mo? How are things in your garden this evening? See, I get to actually use that phrase literally in the horticultural sense. Hope we're doing very well. Very frosty evening, very frosty week here in the northwest. In fact, I forgot to say on yesterday's stream just how, excuse me, delightful the crescent moon was. It was a very clear early evening here in Manchester, so you could see the crescent moon. It was like something out of a film or fantastic. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Good to hear you well, Mo. Solidari-Tea. I'm still just checking a few minor settings. They're all good. Yeah, we'll catch up with a few things that I didn't get into on last night's stream as well, didn't have time for. As we did the deep dive into that Channel 4 debates with Zach Polanski. Rupert's and the other Labour one. I've forgotten the names already. We'll just put this pawn up against, you know, the new increasingly popular leader of the Green Party. I'm sure they'll be fine. So we did go on about that for quite a while yesterday. Because I do want to catch up on a few other stories concerning judicial matters. Oh, and yes, thanks for reminding me, Mobius. As I came off stream yesterday as well, we had just passed 5,500 subscribers. In fact, exactly sitting on 5,500. So thank you very much to everybody who's subscribed. Helped us to achieve that milestone. You're all fantastic people. And I know you're all subscribed in the chat, because if you're not subscribed, please do hit the button, and just 60 seconds later you can share your comments in the chat. Mr. Jared, thank you for joining us. Nice to see you. I appreciate the I meme there as well. So as well as subscribers, thank you very much to all the members on the channel. This is the latest list. We have dipped underneath the 100 mark. Unfortunately, a bit of a chunk of people haven't renewed in the last 24 hours apparently. So currently on 94, that's 12 down from yesterday's. Please do renew. You should get a reminder if you have already joined this list of awesome people before. So when that's coming up, please do continue your membership. Helps us grow the community. Thanks to everybody whose names you can see here. Other ways you can support the channel, of course, as well as memberships, are with super chats if you're watching live, super thanks if you're watching back later on, or you might want to check out the Buy Me a Coffee page in the description of this stream or any other content on the channel. That is if you don't have the means to support the channel via YouTube. And of course, sharing content is free, so please do what you can as we try and grow from humble beginnings. Mobius, thank you very much for that gifted membership. That takes us to 95. Thanks again, Mo. Let's please give Mobius a shout out in the chat, please, everybody. Show some appreciation. Yes, 5.5 thousand subscribers. So I can say that now. Got, well, touch wood, not wood. It does fluctuate sometimes, only by the odd one or two. Fortunately, I've not had any content that I've released and everyone en masse has just sort of gone, oh my god, I've got to ditch this guy, this channel. Alright people, there'll be a comedy clip coming up in a few moments or so. Bit of an interesting twist on Keith's catchphrases, as I said just earlier, but it's budget themed, and I will be introducing a new candidate as well, actually. That's just about as exciting as you can make a PMQ session and a budget announcement. Won't be going over the full budget announcement by Reeves. Lord no, hell no, that'd just not only drag on into the early hours. I don't want to subject myself or any of you good people to that. If you already have watched it in full, then that is the budget statement. Then I commend you. But no, we'll just do some after analysis now that everything's come in. There was, of course, an ONS leak, OBR, Office of Budget Responsibility leak, which has caused a little bit of controversy to come with the budget, but I'll mostly be talking about how it's screwing most of us over, whether you're working or not. I would guess quite a few people who regularly watch the channel, so I have my own personal gripes to settle with it as well. Oh yes, I demand satisfaction. Graham Turner is with us as well, nice to see you. I'm still having to do the working out of, some of them are easier than others, but with people's YouTube handles appearing instead of the YouTube nicknames, just sussing out who's whom is whom. Some of you have very, very small pictures of yourselves in your avatar. I can just about make out basic. I'm not sure if I'd recognise you if I passed you in the street, but yeah, that helps. Says the Faceless channel. Got room to talk, just literally an eye with a fist for a pupil, a raised fist. Okay, I think I've got through all the proceedings and self-promotion and thank yous to members, etc. I can see you're already brewing in the chat about the budget. That's good to see. I'll join you there. I'm not going to risk going off on a tangent. But I can certainly see a lot of points that I agree with at the moment. Right. So tonight's comedy clip, this Wet You Whistle Wednesday, PM Brews, whatever you like to call it. It's going to be Rothschilds, just before we get into some serious UK politics or whatever. Bit of a laugh at the MAGA crowd. This isn't his usual J.D. Vance parody, by the way. It's something a little different from the, we might call the redneck trailer trash demographic of MAGA. And also concerning how so much of the social media that MAGA heads love is actually made in other countries. So go and check out Rothschilds. The handle is @Crabman. There's a number, sorry, I've put it in the description. There's a link to this video on the channel in a professional fashion, because it's quality streaming, people.
What's all this shit about MAGA Twitter being run by foreigners? Beef tallow fried Desert Eagle 50 caliber Twinkie. Ain't no way all the information I've been getting about my God King, personal Lord and Savior, President Donald J. Trump has been coming from not America. I refuse to believe that. If my preferred, reputable, well-researched news source, the MAGA Nation Twitter account, was run by foreign nationals, I think I know. You mean to tell me that this tweet from last May that says, Trump is great, #1 president of America. I am from the great state of East Carolina, pig barbecue football skin, ain't American? Come on now. How about this one from July 24? If America does not electing Trump as supreme adjudicator, that is president, the world will drown in wolf urine just like the Serbians and Democrats want. Apple pie baseball artillery parade. It's like the red, white, and blue right there. And then there's this one from just last week. Ви достигли лимита переводов. Пожалуйста, перейдите на золотой пакет, чтобы продолжить. How's that not the most American thing you ever heard? Applesauce, Chris Christie, explosion, 69. What's next? You're gonna try and tell me that conservative media influencers like Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, Lauren Southern, and Matt Christensen have been taking money from Russian oligarchs? That's ridiculous. Right? Next thing you're gonna say is that my next door neighbor at RussianBot3748, Alan Smith, Alan, is some kind of Russian spy. Hell, I've known him for 7 years. He's the most American man I know. Ain't that right, Alan? Yes, I am an American man from American state of Georgia. I enjoy hot dogs and other various meats with tomato ketchup. Say, chum, can I borrow your credit card so I can go purchase more ketchup from the retail store? Sure, ain't nothing weird about that. Hell, take my whole wallet. I trust you. Thanks be to you, fellow dirt person. That man introduced me to my rifle wife. If he ain't American, you might as well call me some dirty, blue-haired, kombucha-bathing, baby-drinking, Prius-fucking, social commune anarchistic liberal.
Hello? How long have you viewed here? Okay, good. Like and subscribe to my channel.
Go and like and
subscribe to my
people.
Patreon so I can continue making more okay good videos like this. Oh, also remember to leave a comment.
Plug away. Plug away.
With words on the internet far more than things like
he deserves it.
Facts
Oh, that was great. I've not actually watched that all the way through. I only watched the sort of first 20 or 30 seconds before I decided to put it on the stream. I didn't know about the cutaway bits of the... Oh, that was very good. That was very good. I'm eating various meats with tomato ketchup. Rothschilds there. That's some funny fucking shit, mother. Okay, lefty socialists.
Socialists?
Oh my god.
Yes, fellow proletariats. Now let's go into PMQs first. And Keith's catchphrases with a slight twist this week. Slight twist. You'll see what I mean in due course. Peasants Revolts, great to see you. Completely brilliant. Red F as well, and Floor Snake join us in the chat. Doc Davies also arriving. We have a doc in the house. Solidarity, people. Okay, Brew Chat Shorts, let's begin.
We now come to Prime Minister's questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Deliver. Black hole. Plan for change. 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 Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Back again for another Keith's Catchphrases. It's going to be slightly different this week, but first of all, I'll just generally go over what it's all about for anybody who's watching this for the first time, isn't familiar. There's a few rules. It's pretty much a very simple game. We set or pit two words or phrases against one another. Phrases that Keir Starmer and other Labour MPs especially like to use quite repeatedly. So we see which is the most popular. There's a few examples you can see on your screen there. And we'll just keep count as we go through, but there's a few rules. The words or phrases have to be spoken by Keir Starmer himself, and not in any of the questions or by the speaker or anything. The format is normally winner stays on. It's not going to be this week, that's the twist, because I've prepared something of a budget special. So just ignore rule number 2 this week. But we'll go back to that next week, of course. Rule number 3, variations are allowed, such as past tenses, pluralisation, and so on. The way the league is scored is 3 points for a win, 1 for a draw, and absolutely sod all for a loss. The season will last until summer break next year, or Keir Starmer resigns, whichever comes sooner. And which one's that going to be, people? Let me know in the chat. I think we all know the answer to that one. Okay, let's look at the current standings before we get into the game itself. The league's only been running for a few weeks, by the way, since the end of the last recess. But we do have a clear leader at the moment, and it's former running champion when it was the old winner stays on format with no league. But having played 3 games and won them all, it's garnered 20 mentions, so Deliver, represented by Postman Twat, is currently top of the league, but will be absent from the contenders today, because in second place, having won 1 and lost 1, currently with 3 points and 7 mentions, Budget is going to feature this evening, as well as a new contender who's not on the league yet. This is how it finished last week, but there are going to be 2 new additions. So there you can see, and I'll just show you some of the, I'll just quickly show you, I'll tell you the other contenders. Underneath there we have Deal, then Change, and then just a quick look at the bottom half of the table. Black Hole, Plan, Security, and Inheritance. Okay, everybody cool with that? Any questions, any queries? Do post in the chat. But all being well, we'll get started. Just right after, I thank Katie Marshall for celebrating 7 months of membership. It's been very good to have you with us. Solidari-Tea, Katie. Hope your hand's okay, by the way. It's been a bastard today. Well, that's not the only one who's being a bastard today. And speaking of Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves, let's get started. And I'll reveal who the other candidate is, the new candidate making their debut this evening, people. Exciting things are afoot on Keith's Catchphrases, on the Brews at 10, on my left eye. So we have Budget, you can see there underneath the new contender. I'll just show you the big full version. And it's Fix, which isn't the right size. Just resize it a bit so you can see him there. So it's Knob the Builder, you can see here. Knob the Builder will appear anytime Starmer says fix or fixes, fixing will count. Don't forget slight variations are permitted. I guess I'll just have to leave that hanging about there so that you can see the Knob the Builder gag as well. I'll just give you a moment to absorb this high quality Class A humour, and then we'll get started. But of course there's budget as well, which has appeared before. Excuse me, which has appeared before. And we'll see how they get on. So without further ado, let's get started. Oh, and you'll hear this noise anytime any of them are mentioned. Just so that you don't wonder what the hell that was, or go and answer your door and think, who the hell is ringing my doorbell at this time of night? Take it away, Lindsay. This is Lindsay Hoyle, who likes to speak through a sponge.
Before we come to Premier's questions, can I welcome in the gallery His Excellency, the Honourable Stephen Francis Smith, the Australian High Commissioner to the UK. Stephen's term as High Commissioner comes to an end. We wish him all the best in retirement and thank you for what you've done in the UK. We now come to questions to the Prime Minister. Rachel Hopkins.
Question 1, Mr Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, can I begin by confirming your remarks about Stephen, who's in the gallery, as I understand it. He's been an incredible servant and a good friend to the United Kingdom, and we wish him well in everything he does in the future. Mr. Speaker, today's budget will be a Labour budget with Labour values.
What the hell? Give me a...
Mr. Speaker.
Sorry. I was taking the first sip out of my fresh brew, and he just goes and hits us with a fucking double, like a machine gun, and then a deliver, which isn't appearing this week, and that nearly set me off as well, because, I'll be honest, Postman Swat has done something to my brain. So I'll just have to start that again. I think that was 2 budgets in there. Ignore the deliver, because that's not this week, is it, brain?
Stephen's term as High Commissioner. Stephen's
servant and a good... confirming your remarks about Stephen, who's in the gallery, as I understand it. He's been an incredible...
Just what I didn't even get to actually have... I'm going to pause it just so I can have this quick sip here. And you're going to wait. Thank you for waiting, good people.
A servant and a good friend to the United Kingdom, and we wish him well in everything he does in the future. Mr. Speaker, today's budget will be a Labour budget with Labour values to deliver for the British people's priorities. Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, that's 2.
I know what it feels like to sit around the kitchen table worried about bills that can't be paid. That's why this budget is for families that I know today are equally worried about the cost of living. That's why we're rolling out free breakfast clubs, free childcare and free school meals. And today we'll be going further to deliver the change we're elected to bring about. Cutting NHS waiting lists, cutting the national debt and cutting the cost of living. Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Rachel Hopkins.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. For years and years, rail fares have gone up and up, but this is set to change next year. Can the Prime Minister confirm that commuters in my constituency will see around £400 savings?
Yeah, breakfast clubs, again. Breakfast clubs. It's like, you know.
On their annual season ticket as a result of this government freezing rail fares. And can he confirm this is only possible because we have a Labour government?
Well, I can confirm next year we're freezing...
Can you confirm that that was an obvious and planted question?
Rail fares for the first...
Like, they don't know that everyone's just about to get absolutely slaughtered by the budget, which would have been after this PMQ session. So they're trying to do all of the promotional work first, before they give everybody an absolute pounding in the wallet.
This time in 30 years, saving millions of commuters hundreds of pounds. And yes, that's only possible because we have a Labour government investing in Great British Railways and putting more money in the pockets of passengers. Contrast our approach with the leader of the opposition who says the minimum wage is a burden, she thinks, and she wants to means test the state pension.
We now come to the leader of the opposition, Kerry Burnell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I first pay tribute to the many farmers who have...
Here she is. So yeah, just whatever the first question is, she'll probably repeat that a good few times. Slightly varied fashion.
come to Westminster today to protest the shameful attack on them in last year's budget. I want them to know that Conservatives stand with them. Mr. Speaker?
Yeah. They arrest them, we stand with them.
Mr. Speaker, this has been the most chaotic lead-up to a budget in living memory, with resignations, hostile briefings, and...
Can I just say to a couple of you, if you don't want the budget, make your mind up now.
Nobody wants this budget, Mr. Speaker. With resignations, hostile briefings, and leaks galore, even just in the last 10 minutes, an unprecedented leak of the OBR analysis.
Unbelievable.
Mr. Speaker, these leaks have been so serious that even the former...
Unbelievable. Did you hear the one absolutely outraged person there? Unbelievable. This is the worst thing that could have happened in the history of humanity. The Office of Budget Responsibility report leaked to the press.
Mr. Speaker. With resignations, hostile briefings, and leaks galore, even just in the last 10 minutes, an unprecedented leak of the OBR analysis.
Unbelievable.
Mr. Speaker, these leaks have been so serious that even the former chief economist of the Bank of England has said, and I quote, that Labour's fiscal fandango is the single biggest reason why growth has flatlined. Does the Prime Minister agree with Andy Haldane, and does he have an explanation?
Fiscal fandango. Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you, Clem.
For this complete shambles.
We all know the biggest shambles in living history, the Liz Truss budget. And what did she say at the time? Did she say, I don't agree, this must be wrong? No, she said, I think Liz Truss is
Very strong
100%
start here from budget.
right, 100%. Not much room for flexibility. Not one thing was wrong with it, in her view.
Just three,
so we won't be
three.
taking lectures from her. Matters for the OBR. The Chancellor will set out the budget in just a few minutes' time.
And another.
Mr. Speaker, we're talking about the leaks. The Prime Minister doesn't seem to appreciate the impact of these budget leaks on the UK economy. Even the Chief Secretary to the Prime Minister has said this morning that the leaks were unacceptable. So will the Prime Minister launch an investigation into the budget leaks and punish those responsible?
Mr. Speaker, it's literally about 25 minutes before the budget will be set out in Orly, where we'll take further decisions. The Chancellor will set it out, but
already.
thanks to the decisions she's already
4-0,
taken,
5-0.
we've got 5 million extra NHS appointments, waiting lists are coming down, mortgages are cheaper, we've expanded free school meals. That's 100,000 children lifted out of poverty, a moral mission for this government. Compare that to the record opposite any day of the week.
Mr. Speaker, he talks about the decisions she's already taken. If they were that great, we wouldn't have all those farmers outside protesting. He doesn't want to talk about leaks, but we can see that the chaos in Number 10 is having real-world consequences. Instead of focusing on the economy, they've been fighting like rats. Several journalists reported that Number 10 sources had briefed against the Health Secretary and other senior cabinet ministers. The Prime Minister then told us that these briefings did not come from Number 10. Will he...
So this is this week's obsession. I'm slightly relieved. I don't think we've had Chagos Islands for a good few sessions now. But like I said, he comes back with an answer. All you get is this pantomime for at least the first 3 questions of the 6 that the Leader of the Opposition is permitted.
Repeat on the floor of the House the claim that none of his advisers has briefed against members of the Cabinet.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I've been really...
Oh, we've got a... Oh, shit, I think we've got a crash. Yeah, we've got a crash. Back now, I think. Yes, buggerations indeed. Apologies for that brief delay, people. All running smooth though now, I think.
He talks about the decisions she's already taken. If they were that great, we wouldn't have all the...
Not much week.
Yeah, we're about here, I think.
Mr. Speaker, he talks about the decisions she's already taken. If they were that great, we wouldn't have all those farmers outside protesting. He doesn't want to talk about leaks, but we can see that the chaos in number 10 is having real-world consequences. Instead of focusing on the economy, they've been fighting like rats. Several journalists reported that number 10 sources had briefed against the Health Secretary and other senior cabinet ministers. The Prime Minister then told us that these briefings...
Yeah, it was kind of weird how it happened whilst... what's it called? Steve Coogan, yeah, like he was in a music video or something. Oh, fucking hell.
Things did not come from number 10. Will he repeat on the floor of
Paul Calf. Good brain fart.
The House the claim that none of his advisers has briefed against members of the Cabinet?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I've been really clear about this. No one in number 10 has briefed against cabinet ministers. And the Health Secretary is doing a fantastic job. He stood before the electorate just before the last election. He said we'd deliver 2 million extra appointments for the NHS in the first year of a Labour government. There he is. What did he do? Not 2.
Oh, shite.
Before we come to...
Not 3, not 4, but 5 million extra appointments for the NHS. They don't understand this language, Mr. Speaker, because they left everything absolutely broken.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister expects us to believe him. No one does. We all know that he did not have a serious leak inquiry. What he did, Mr. Speaker, was he asked Morgan McSweeney to investigate Morgan McSweeney, and then Morgan McSweeney discovered that Morgan McSweeney was innocent.
Oh, wait until you hear about the Rose Garden press conference with Dominic Cummings. It wasn't that long ago. I can certainly remember that one happening, which I'm not defending Keir Starmer, of course, or Morgan McSweeney. He's still an absolute shite of the highest possible division, but yeah. A lot of hypocrisy, a lot of double standards from the Tories, but what would you expect? Ruth Guthrie, thanks for joining us. Your American notifications are coming in fast. Is that... Oh, yeah, forgot to mention that earlier. Just before we came on stream, there was the shooting incident outside the White House, but Donald Trump is in Mar-a-Lago. 2 members of the National Guard were killed, I believe. So that's a developing story. Not sure if any suspects have been apprehended or are known about. Could be a fresh case for my left private eye, people. Let's see.
All of this calls into question the Prime Minister's judgment. All of this calls into question the Prime Minister's judgment. We read this weekend that he wants the former Deputy Prime Minister back in his cabinet. He must have forgotten that she had to resign only a few months ago for tax evasion. When did the Prime Minister decide that lawbreakers can be lawmakers?
Mr. Speaker.
2019 much? You know, Alexander Boris de Faffel Johnson been fired from every job he ever had for lying before he became Prime Minister, and that still remained true when he ceased to be Prime Minister. Honestly. What can you say?
While she's scrolling through Twitter,
Two cheeks of the same arse is what you can say.
we've delivered rail fares frozen,
Nearly went for it again.
subscription charges frozen, the minimum wage boosted. We're focusing on the cost of living, the single most important thing for this country. She's focusing on tittle-tattle.
It's not tittle-tattle, Mr. Speaker. We all know.
Was there a fix in there? Just go back a couple of seconds.
It's not tittle-tattle, Mr. Speaker. We all know that he's only...
Charges frozen, the minimum wage boosted. We're focusing on the cost of living, the single most important thing for this country. She's focusing on tittle-tattle.
Sorry, thought I had a fix in there somewhere.
It's not tittle-tattle, Mr. Speaker. We all know that he's only...
But Knob the Builder hasn't got his fix yet.
Only talking about welcoming the Deputy Prime Minister back because he is desperate to shore up his crumbling leadership. But if he were to welcome her back, will he set a condition that she must pay back the £40,000 of property taxes she avoided, the same property taxes they're very happy to put on everyone else, and will she also return her £17,000 of severance pay?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the former Deputy Prime Minister is the biggest social mobility story this country has ever told. She started from humble beginnings and fought her way...
Yeah, I used to shine fucking shoes on Salford fucking precincts. And now look at me. She's from Ashton under Lyne, actually, not Salford, but never mind anyway. And now look at me. Got fucking 40k stamp duty.
To the very top. I'm very proud of what she's achieved in politics. I'm very proud of everything she's done for this Labour government.
Class traitors is another way of putting it.
Sounds like a no, Mr. Speaker. I've never heard the Prime Minister speak so highly of people avoiding their taxes. But in summary, this just looks like a government that is a slow-motion car crash. His cabinet are briefing against each other, his MPs are planning for life after him, and the most chaotic run-up to a budget in recent memory is happening on his watch. Even the Chief Whip is telling MPs that he wants out. The truth is simple, Mr. Speaker. His MPs don't trust him, the markets don't trust him, and the public certainly don't trust him. When will he finally accept that the chaos starts and ends with him?
The most chaotic budget was the Liz Truss budget. It did huge damage to our country. We're still suffering from that damage. And what did she say about Liz Truss? She obviously does still think
Another
it.
double.
When asked, was Liz Truss right? 100% right, she said. The most chaotic, damaging budget there's ever been. And she sticks by it. I'm very interested to see her response to this budget if she thinks Liz Truss got it right. Mr. Speaker, what we're doing is focusing on cutting waiting lists, cutting the national debt, cutting the cost of living, renewing our country, a Labour budget with Labour values, delivering for the British people.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At the moment, everyone is being bombarded with adverts and emails for Black Friday, encouraging them to spend money on...
Bollocks of Black Friday. We don't even celebrate Thanksgiving in the UK. And I'm sure a lot of you will agree. Obviously, in the United States, it's what we have a turkey to say sorry for genociding all of the natives. Basically, if you boil it down to that. I don't know if you see it the same way. But just need a quick word with Knob the Builder here. Come on. Come on. I mean, it's 9-0. It's not even a half-time drubbing that I'm going to give the new contender now. You're in the big leagues now, pal. It's time to get started. Come on.
local time-limited deals leading to panic buying, increasing debt, buyer regret, and not to mention the impact on the planet, with delivery and returns of goods responsible for millions of tonnes of CO2 emissions. Does he agree with me that instead of rushing to buy online, people should look to their high streets to support local businesses and keep money in the local economy this Christmas?
Yeah. Well, I want...
Are you going to tax Amazon then?
To see our high streets thriving, and we encourage everyone to support local businesses this Christmas. Through our small business strategy, we got £3 billion boost to help small businesses expand, and we've tackled the most significant reforms to tackle late payments, the most significant in 25 years, Mr. Speaker. And the Chancellor will have to say more about that in just a moment.
Sir Ed Davey, Leader of the Liberal Democrats.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We've just seen in the leaked OBR documents that taxes are going up to a historic record high. So will the Prime Minister explain why Labour is hiking people's taxes instead of fixing the £90 billion Brexit black hole in the public finances by growing our economy with a new, detailed, brilliant trade deal with our European partners?
Well, he'll only have to wait a few minutes for the full details of the budget. But, Mr. Speaker, every week he comes here...
She's Googling budgets already. Yeah, I can see it's quite imminent. She's how to do a budget. She's just quickly how to do a budget in preparation. But well, it's not a few minutes, by my reckoning. We're not quite halfway through PMQs yet. Just a few minutes. But I suppose if you want further evidence that they're not very good at doing the sums or even counting, we'll get into the budget itself. Come on, Nob the Builder, you can get a few. You can catch up, it's only 9-0. Come on.
With the same problem. He always wants more spending, and he never wants to say how he's going to raise the money for it. The two things can't go together.
Sir Ed Davey.
Speaker, we want to grow the economy, not tax the economy. But if I can take him on to another issue, Mr. Speaker, I hope everyone in the House shares my alarm that a former leader of a political party in Wales has been found guilty of betraying our country and has now been sentenced to over 10 years in prison for his treachery.
Yeah, so you're next, Starmer, or you should be, at least.
The Prime Minister said that reform should hold an independent investigation.
Won't get off on a tangent
and he is
about
right.
That
but we both know that that's not going to happen. So given reform won't, he must. So will he now launch a national investigation into Russian infiltration into our politics?
Yeah! And Israeli.
Well, he's right to highlight this very serious case. A long sentence for pro-Russian bribery in the Reform Party at the highest level. You would think a leader of a political party would want to get to the bottom of that and ask the question, how on earth did that happen in the Reform Party? And what...
The same way that you're being lobbied by Israel in the Labour Party.
What other links are there between Reform and Russia? But no, the leader of Reform doesn't want to do it. Because, Mr. Speaker, we know he doesn't want to know the answer to the question because Reform is riddled with pro-Putin propaganda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, after 8 years of traffic chaos and increasingly creative traffic diversions, residents of Parkside and Marston Grange in my constituency are beginning to wonder whether the A513 at Beaconside is a permanent monument.
Where are these places? Does anybody recognise these places? Or this A road, the A15, whatever the it was?
To the traffic cone. In the time that Staffordshire County Council and Taylor Wimpey have taken to complete one stretch of road, we've had 6 Prime Ministers, not to mention Notre Dame burned down and was rebuilt using medieval building techniques. So what can be done to hold developers and local authorities properly to account so that essential infrastructure is delivered on time with minimum disruption?
Well, It's staggering that an important upgrade for drivers to improve their journeys has been delayed for 8 long years. And I understand the scheme is currently being held up by the Reform-led council, Quelle Sabri, who are proving as hopeless in local government
Quelle Sabri.
as everybody anticipated. Mr Speaker, we've invested £24 billion in our roads, and I call on Staffordshire Council to end the delay, get on with the job.
You've had 16 months to fix the frigging road.
And get this scheme started for her constituents.
Alison Bennett.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. University Hospitals Sussex currently have 350 people.
We're all good now, people. That A road in wherever the hell it was is going to be getting repaired. Pretty, you know, go and wake your children up or just savour this moment now. God, thank God it's all over. All the suffering. I feel so relieved.
Well enough to go home for occupying beds. That is the same number of beds as in Princess Royal Hospital in Haywards Heath in my constituency. The reason they can't go home is because there is no social care package for them to go to. This is terrible for them, puts strain on the trust and is ruinous to the taxpayer. Given there is no urgent plan to reform social care, what is the Prime Minister's plan to bring them home for Christmas?
Well, as she knows, we are reforming social care, and I've asked Baroness Casey to lead on that. And she's had the first of her cross-party meetings to build consensus, which is obviously what we need on this. As I've said out a number of times, the first phase will report in 2026, so we can reform as we go on. There will obviously be a phase after that. And I remind the House we've already boosted social care funding by £3.7 billion, record increases also to the carers allowance, and £500 million for the first ever fair pay agreement to properly recognise and reward carers.
Because the more public money you pump in, the more gets siphoned off by private enterprise. So even when you stand there and probably make a lot about phony, jumped up statistics anyway, let's just entertain the idea that they're true for a moment. It only demonstrates how much more of our money will be funneled towards these private enterprises. That's how it's working. That's what's going to happen.
Luke Kirkhurst. Thank you, Mr Speaker. Is the Prime Minister aware that because of the decision by Reform's Durham County Council to scrap support introduced by Labour in 2013?
God. Oh no, it's fucking Luke Akehurst. Ah, God. What an absolute fucking cretin.
A typical working family in Stanley will be £170 worse off. How would the Prime Minister control...
Your face is redder than your tie, you Zionist piece of shit, you.
...contrast the values of this Labour government with a Reform Party dividing our country and hitting working people in their pockets?
Well, I thank him for raising this. The more we see of Reform...
Sorry, I was so filled with disgust I didn't even... pay any attention to the question whatsoever, and I'm certainly not rewinding it so that we can have it again, because the less seen of that, and I'm going to get pretty strong here, people, the less seen of that cunt, the absolute better. Apologies. Sorry, not sorry.
The more we see their true colours, in this case making people £170 worth off, but their true colours also in relation to the member for Clacton. His explanation, Mr Speaker, in recent days in relation to the stories about what he may have said in the past is unconvincing, to say the least. He says he never engaged with racism with intent. With intent. What does that mean? Didn't engage with racism with intent. I have no doubt.
It's the same way you try and dodge questions, but I'm not defending you or Farage on that one. He is a racist. He did make those comments and gestures. I went into that a bit on yesterday's stream. But this was also verified by witnesses. This isn't just one person's word against another. And this goes back to his school days. Like I said, when everybody was watching alternative comedy, I guess. In the 1980s, Farage was going around being a little Tory boy. So it did happen, and he targeted Jewish people on campus, made awful comments about the Holocaust. He is a racist, he's an anti-Semite. He's probably almost every form of racism that you could imagine. But that's the sort of foul thing you come to expect from white supremacy. But it is true. He can't dance on the head of a pin to try and escape it. Deliberately or directly, or whatever it is that he says. I mean, come on. We're in the world of 2 and 2 makes 5 now. Someone from the Tory youth who used to sing, it's also alleged, sang Hitler Youth songs on campus as well. Yeah. Put 2 and 2 together, seriously. Of course he is. Of course he is.
If a young Jewish student was hissed at to mimic the sound of a gas chamber, they would find it upsetting. He may want to forget that. They won't. He clearly remembers some of what happened. He should seek those people out and go and apologise to them.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Lewis, not his real name, is an Eastbourne boy with special educational needs who was left traumatised after his passenger assistant relentlessly and brutally restrained him on his home-to-school transport. It only became clear to Lewis's mum, who is in the gallery today, what happened on that day when he returned home visibly distressed and bruised. And that's because, shockingly, there is no statutory requirement to report incidents of physical restraint on school transport, nor national training standards. So will the Prime Minister address this loophole in his upcoming SEND reforms to ensure that SEND's children in Eastbourne...
Is there a phone going off? Is someone's phone actually going off?
...and beyond can travel to school with the safety and dignity that loophole in his upcoming SEND reforms.
There was, and it sounds like some sort of weird merry-go-round music or something.
To ensure that SEND's children in Eastbourne and beyond can travel to school with the safety and dignity that they deserve.
Well, can I say to him and to Lewis's mum, who's with us, that incidents like that should not be happening. I know that he's met, I think, with the Education Minister to discuss this. Every child should have tailored support, including on transport to school, and I can reassure him and Lewis's mum that that principle will be central to our reforms.
Jenny Riddle-Carpenter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last week, Roman Osborne, a 10-year-old in my constituency, hand-delivered a letter to 10 Downing Street to tell the Prime Minister about an accident that he had outside his primary school of Trimley St Martin in February, which left him spending 3 days in hospital and many, many more months recovering. Mr. Speaker, will the Prime Minister back my campaign, Safer at the Gates, and will he call on Tory-led Suffolk County Council to do the right thing and re-review the road and put the right safety measures in place outside Trimley St Martin and the other schools in my constituency?
Can I thank her for that and thank Roman for his letter, which I took time to read last night. And I wanted just to read a short sentence from it, from Roman. He said this accident wouldn't have happened...
You mean in Latin? Sorry, poor taste.
...if there was a safe place to cross the road. I'm concerned for other children's safety, and I don't want another accident like mine to happen again to anyone else. Mr. Speaker, what an incredible young boy, aged just 10. I totally agree with him, and I say to Roman, this is what we're going to do. Roman, I've asked ministers to work with all the right people to look at his...
No, genuinely sorry, this is a really serious issue.
...school and get a safe crossing in place. And the Roads Minister will be happy to meet my honourable friend to discuss the road safety strategy.
Solidari-Tea.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This morning I met with farmers on Whitehall.
There was a fix in there.
This is what we're going to do. Roman, I've asked ministers to work with all the right people to road safety strategy.
Solidari-Tea.
Minister will be happy to meet my honourable friend to discuss the road safety strategy.
Mr. Speaker, this morning I met with farmers on Whitehall, and on Saturday farmers supplying milk to family-run White Farms who have been making traditional cheddar cheese near Bruton for 160 years. They all told me, Mr. Speaker, the family farm tax as it stands will devastate their businesses. So if he really wants growth, will the Prime Minister...
I was getting sort of flashes of Liz Truss's cheese importation outrage. God, that was what year was that? That is a disgrace. That one. Getting similar vibes here.
Minister listen to farmers, industry, the EFRA Select Committee, even his own MPs, and pause and rethink this damaging and regressive tax.
Mr. Speaker, we've invested a record £11.8 billion
into cheese. The Treasury for cheese. Oh, they're going to set up the task force on cheese now, are they? The government department for cheese. Head Minister John Cheddar speaking.
Sustainable farming this Parliament, and we set out a 25-year farming roadmap focused on increasing year-on-year productivity and profitability in farms. That is vitally important.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last week, the COVID inquiry reported that 23,000 deaths occurred in England in the first wave of the pandemic that could have been prevented due to the UK response being too little too late. These were not just 23,000 deaths, Mr. Speaker. These were 23,000 people who had family and friends who loved them, and valuable lives that were cut short due to an abysmal failure of leadership by Boris Johnson and his government.
Yeah, it was an awful time, and let the bodies pile high is what Johnson had to say about it. I mentioned Cummings before. He, of course, had a massive hand in all of that. That brings us back to that Rose Garden thing over his breaking of lockdown rules and the ridiculous excuse, whatever it was, the driving test thing. But these people, Johnson, Hancock especially, I have a particular dislike for as well, they need to answer for this. I put a post on social media recently, perhaps towards the end of last week, when this all started to come out. But, you know, obviously, if, let's say, you were culpable, you were guilty of killing 10 people, you'd surely stay in prison for the rest of your life. 23,000, even on gross negligence sort of levels. That really is appalling. And those were political decisions. They were terrible decisions. And I don't want to get off on a tangent about COVID because we'd be here all day. But let the bodies pile high, and the press conference where he was gloating about shaking hands with lots of people are two of the things that stick out in my mind. But there's a litany of others.
They were categorically failed by a Prime Minister who prevaricated, delayed and prioritised political expediency over making the tough decisions that could have averted tragedy. If the Prime Minister were to lead us through the next pandemic, will he value saving lives above all else?
Well, she's right. The report is a sombre moment, and it's important to remember the scale of suffering and the scale of the loss of life, which is made clear in the testimonies of the families in the report, and to remember the incredible contribution of frontline workers and everyone who focused on protecting.
Yeah, idiosyncrasy. Roadmap. No, it's the road to nowhere. It's a dead-end street. Use your own metaphors.
Others. Mr. Speaker, we're committed to learning the lessons needed from the COVID inquiry to protect and prepare us for the future. And the pandemic does still weigh heavily on our public finances and our NHS. That's why we've already conducted a pandemic exercise to test preparedness and agreed a historic global pandemic agreement to improve our ability to prevent global disease threats alongside our partners.
Adam Dance.
JK, how you doing? Was that the Tony? Well, it was a while ago. I think that came out when Tony Blair was Prime Minister. I have seen the episode, but I remember hearing that it was implied that it was Tony Blair, even though it actually wasn't in the Black Mirror episode. But yeah, with the pig, and that was in before David. What's that say? Cameron became Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I hope the Prime Minister will agree with me that the defence industry in Somerset is a key engine for growth, jobs and innovation. Leonardo and Yeovil is making a fantastic progress with the Proteus uncrewed helicopter, but the future of that project, thousands of jobs at the site in Yeovil and the 320 million Leonardo contribute to local GDP is dependent on the new medium helicopter contract. Will the Prime Minister reassure my constituents that he supports the industry in Yeovil, and will his government finally get round to awarding this long overdue contract?
Well, can I pay tribute to those in Somerset and his constituency in the defence sector, which is hugely important to our country and our security. I can confirm we're continuing with the establishment procurement process.
What am I hearing? What am I listening? Helicopter contracts? No thanks.
For the new medium helicopter programme to deliver modern equipment for our armed forces. That's part of the biggest sustained boost to our defence since the Cold War, and I'm determined to see a defence dividend of investment.
Why? Why do we need... What, you're saying that things are going to at least get as heightened as they were during the Cold War? Oh, that's something to look forward to, isn't it? No, that's pretty foreboding if you ask me. And a total waste of public expenditure, of course.
In British jobs and apprentices, including in his constituency. Mr. Speaker, that builds on the £8 billion Typhoon deal that we've secured, the £4 billion maritime deal with Indonesia, and the £10 billion frigate deal with Norway.
Serena Blackenbridge.
For what? For what? The climate wars, is that what it's going to be for? Or are we... Who are we all going to be taking on? Who's America going to tell us that we're taking on this time? Oh, God. We're doomed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I joined Wensfield Men walking and talking on International Men's Day, a fantastic group who are strengthening our community through good company and what Stephen calls a growing band of brothers. In an age of pressure, polarisation and endless phone scrolling, they bring men together to support one another. Will the Prime Minister join me in congratulating all involved and explain how the first ever men's health strategy will back similar grassroots initiatives?
Can I thank her? It is so important that men have the space and support from their peers to discuss their mental health. Can I thank Men Walking and Talking for the work that they do that makes such a difference? We were proud to launch our men's health strategy last week to get more men the support they need. And Mr. Speaker, I wanted to take a moment to thank my honourable friend for Cannock Chase for his honesty and bravery on International Men's Day. And I say again, men speaking so truthfully about their experiences is so powerful and inspires more to do the same. He's a credit to this House.
Great job.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Consequential to President Trump's misunderstanding of Putin's assessment going forward into... I've got it completely wrong, so let me do it without notes. There we are. What a day to do it. President, I can't...
Jesus Christ, man, he's completely lost it. What's going on?
Bag sides.
I've completely lost it.
He's gone. He's gone. He can't do it. Oh no, he must have practiced it so many times as well. What the fuck?
And I apologise. So let me read it. Let me read it because I'm going to carry on. I'm afraid the Prime Minister's not going to get away with that.
Sorry, I'm coughing there. Bit chesty this week.
Easy. So, consequential to President Trump's misunderstanding of Putin's strategic intent for both Ukraine and Europe is the Prime Minister's solemn responsibility to keep this country safe. Given the hypersonic missile threat and the ballistic missile threat, known threat from Russia, and the fact that the United Kingdom has no current counter to that, what is the Prime Minister going to do to keep this country safe from those that have already threatened us?
Thank him for his question and his contribution to this important debate, and of course the contribution he made yesterday as well. It is.
That's just outright fear-mongering, really, isn't it? It's just the general, oh, we've got to be prepared for something that might happen. It's, well, have we got intelligence? We're going down that road again, aren't we? And then there'll be some incidents. And you know where it goes from there, people.
The first duty of the Prime Minister to keep this country safe. It's the duty that is paramount and above all else, and I take it extremely seriously and treat it as my number one priority. We will review our security and defence arrangements
this week's
all of the
number
time,
one priority
and we
again.
are particularly a leading member in NATO, which is the single most effective military alliance the world has ever seen.
Ben Coleman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My constituent
that is effective at letting America do whatever the hell it wants.
In Chelsea and Fulham tell me that our top national priority must remain, as it is, economic growth. So does the Prime Minister agree that the swiftest way...
That's not how we should be measuring how good are the health of our society. It's not a metric. Don't maybe do the magic number thing again, but Jesus Christ.
Prime Minister agreed that the swiftest way to achieve growth is for the government to be even more ambitious in negotiating with the European Union to remove the new red tape and trade barriers that have been holding back UK businesses, especially small and medium-sized ones, since the Conservatives' poorly managed exit from the European Union.
Well, the deal we struck with the EU will deliver on what the British public voted for last year, which is, as he says, boosting economic growth and restoring positive relations. And the deal we've struck is worth £9 billion to our economy in 2040. It includes an SBS agreement to cut supermarket prices and boost export opportunities. And the tourism reform would rip up that deal and leave us all paying more at the checkout.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When it comes to economic growth, this Labour government is all talk and no action. So maybe I can help the Prime Minister. Roadworks and traffic jams cost the UK economy £8 billion last year. This affects my constituents in Broxbourne every single day. They want to know what the government is doing about it.
I've got a bloody car, I want to bloody drive it. It's getting in my way.
When the government is going to back working people and get Britain moving.
What sort of a question? You want to outlaw roadworks in general? No. It comes with maintenance. Water, gas, electric, all sorts of other things. Resurfacing, tree cutting. You can't just stop that because you want to get someone... Oh, Jesus Christ. Talk about self-censored.
Government growth is the highest in the G7 for the first half of this year. Under the last government, they crashed the economy.
Emily Darwin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yesterday was the UN
International Day for the
Elimination of Violence Against Women, otherwise known as White Ribbon Day in Milton Keynes and many other places. Will the Prime Minister join with me in congratulating Mr. Speaker on his commitment that this House will become the first national white ribbon parliament in the world? And will he join me, Mr. Speaker, and many members from across this House in making the white ribbon promise to never use, excuse, or remain silent about men's violence against women?
Can I thank her for raising this really important issue? And I'm really proud, Mr. Speaker, on what you've done with this Parliament in relation to the White Ribbon campaign. We must then turn that from a ribbon into action. And I am really proud that this government is fully committed to tackling violence against women and girls. It is a political commitment, it is a personal commitment from me, and we'll do everything we can in relation to reducing violence against women and girls, which is pernicious. It is far more widespread than people appreciate, and we absolutely have to stop talking and start doing in relation to this.
Final question, Liz Saville-Roberts.
Yn fawr iawn, Lefarydd. From his previous answer, we can only conclude that the Prime Minister has faith in the member of Clacton to police his own party on Russian interference. But the...
Well, just look who's in the shot there. Just over her right shoulder as we look at it.
The leader of Reform has already said that this is beyond his capabilities. Why, therefore, is the Prime Minister so unwilling to take responsibility and launch...
Just look at that Petrarchian face. God, he knows. He knows what's going on. Nigel Farage, Russia.
A full investigation
Full investigations, Nigel. Full investigations.
into foreign interference in our democracies.
Interference in our democracy, but the responsibility for the investigation of what happened in Reform lies with the leader of the Reform Party. Mr. Speaker, he's usually got plenty to say, and now he's totally silent on one of the most...
because I was going to interject and point out that he's not being so lippy and gobby now. Just a strange feeling of being in agreement with Keir Starmer, but it's low-hanging fruit, I guess. It's pretty easy to point that out, but he is right.
Important issues. Mr. Speaker, he needs to speak up and answer those questions.
That is it, I think.
That completes Prime Minister's question.
It does indeed. 9-0 to budget. Obviously had an advantage with it participating this week, but there you go. The debutantes not faring so well, not even getting a score on the board. So unfortunately, both of these will be retired next week because budget has already played against last week's winner, Deliver. So 9-0 to budget there, and we'll get onto the budget in just a moment. What did you make of that session, folks? Let me know in the chat or in the comments if you're watching back later on. Just going to quickly top up my drink. I need to wet my whistle. Sorry, I've been a bit raspy this evening. Yeah, I'll be right back, people. And then onto the budget. Digest what's happening.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Oh, God.
Right, people? I'm not going to go over every detail that was announced in the budget, just sort of picked a few out to mull over. But it's not great now. Millions of people have to pay more tax. This breaks a manifesto pledge again. That there'd be no tax increases or national insurance. But here we are. I think I'll start with a look at things in a broader sense, but I'll just put up this article for now. And then we'll go through a few bullet points. So overall, Reeves has tried to say that the budget actually makes those with the broadest shoulders take some responsibility. But that's not really strictly true. There's not been much of a mention about multimillionaires, billionaires, that kind of category, because those are the very broad shoulders that have to pay the most, have to be taxed the most. But she's thinking people on around 50, 100,000 pounds, that sort of thing. But again, there are other increases that are going to affect everybody. No mention of billionaires whatsoever. And we know the amounts of money that we'd be able to get. Tens of billions. But again, the tough decisions, hard choices, they're purely political decisions. And we all know that. A budget doomed to fail. That's, yeah, looking for some sort of tagline to put to the budget. I think I suggested the resignation budget yesterday, or whatever it was, but yeah, a budget doomed to fail. That's a very good one. A few other things, right, okay, just moving away from things in the broader terms. They have actually, well, it's basically caving in. It's not through any sense of decency or morality. I mean, look at these people. They don't even, most of them, know how to stand like human beings. Who's that on the far right of the picture there? If you ever saw somebody stood like that in the street, you'd think something was wrong with them. And the person next to them, by the way. Both of those two. With the, you know, the arms loose down. Hello, I am human being. Nice to meet you. I am having emotions currently. Yes. Just back onto one specific point though. So they caved in on the two-child benefit cap. But they implemented it in the first place. This sort of, oh look what we're doing for the kids, aren't we great? And it was no, you took something away from them. Everyone persistently told you what a set of bastards you were for doing that. Called out everybody who voted for it. And sometime later, you've caved in because you now all fear for your own careers. Like I said, out of no sense of morality. But more out of the sense of a career move. It's like if, you know, somebody mugged you and then sometime later, like, tracked you down and gave back the thing that they stole from you, whatever it was, in the street. Just, oh, look what I've donated, look, aren't I a great person? Just, honestly, pure gaslighting. And it's only through public pressure. I've mentioned it on the channel a lot. It comes up a lot in the discourse, the political discourse on social media, absolutely. The two-child benefit cap was a huge stick to beat Labour with, and they knew it, and I think Rachel Reeves knows it, so they just back to where they were when they took office, I guess, where that's concerned. So it's not an improvement so much as just correcting a catastrophic error to save their own skins. What else is there in there? I'm not sure if this is actually mentioned in the budget. It might just be a separate sort of policy that's going to be coming up. But I do want to mention this as well, because it's something that I'm particularly worried by. And I'm sure that you all should be as well. But pertaining to the climate crisis, it's rumoured, or it's said, that they're going to be stopping the moratorium on new oil and gas licenses. Yeah, you heard that correct. So concerning energy, concerning fossil fuels, concerning the climate crisis, they could be lifting the moratorium on oil and gas licenses, and this would be devastating. Regular viewers will know that this is something that I've personally campaigned against for some time. Spent years trying to persuade the government to stop the new licenses with JSO, and yeah, a lot of really good people went through a lot, and we put our bodies on the line and all of the rest of it, and a lot of other good people have campaigned for it as well. And I have to say, I don't think that this will stand. Because yes, at the end of the day, JSO achieved the goal, achieved the target. No longer an organisation, will no longer be an organisation, but there will be, I can seriously see there being a pushback against this if that does happen. But not obviously just for those personal reasons. It's climate suicide, and we all did work very hard to try and sustain a livable future at least. But that brings me on to another budget topic in itself now, where climate's concerned, where incentives are concerned. She is actually going to follow through on the rumoured increase in tax on electric vehicles with this paying per mile scheme. Now, that really isn't going to persuade people to switch from petrol or diesel to electric. She's also opening, the government that is, are opening the third runway at, is it Heathrow? Completely pushing us in the wrong direction, but what else would we expect from someone, a government that is, led by a man who took a private jet to the COP meeting with very little to say, just for some photo ops with Prince William, who also took the private jet. So instead of perhaps taxing, you know, these unnecessary huge 4x4 so-called gas guzzlers, people who live in urban and city areas who don't really have any practical use for the vehicle, that is. They just obviously like to have it, so on and so forth. But they're obviously bigger contributors. Nothing to say about that. So it's going to be registered per mile. Like I said, this is only going to lead to a decrease in electric vehicles, which is, yeah, not something that I can get on board with. Any EV drivers watching live, let us know how you feel about this in the chat. So essentially, we're all going to be worse off, that is, unless we're multi-millionaires and billionaires, of course, apart from some frippery about mansion tax. And the worst of it is going to come towards the end of the scheduled term of this Parliament, that is. Which doesn't even make political sense, because people clearly think things aren't going the right way at the moment, and if the worst is yet to come and comes in just before the next scheduled election, come on, that's really shooting yourself in the foot. It's 3 pence per mile, yeah, that's right, idiosyncrasy. Yeah, most people on PIP can't afford that. Good point there, Mo. The shouty bloke bellows that he's not impressed, and you've had an EV since 2017, 3p per mile for electric vehicles, 1.5p for hybrids, and nothing for ICE. Crazy. Where are we? Just scrolling through the chat here. Yeah, Emma Richardson as well, good point there, trying to force more disabled people who can't work into work as well, taking mobility vehicles away. The OBR is now running the economy. The OBR and the bond markets apparently yeah, run the country. Good point there, Graham. Yeah, keep your thoughts about that coming in on the chat, people. I'll try and keep up to speed with that as much as possible. Just check it's nice and refreshed on your screens. I'll talk more about the budgets in future streams and content, I'm sure. Those are just some of my main takeaways. I'm obviously biased towards climate for obvious reasons, but in terms of societal impact, this is again going to be continually devastating. Very disappointing. Not that we expected any less. Because I want to get into some judicial matters now, people. Yesterday we saw testimony actually from regular viewer Moishe on Toast, who isn't with us, I believe, in the chat this evening. Possibly getting 40 winks, not sure, but in fact I might see that testimony again. And also Pete, who I also interviewed from the first round of DOJ protests. We might just take a quick look back at that again before I get into a couple of other bits. This is really, again, everybody should be really worried about this. First of all, the Justice Secretary wants most jury trials to be scrapped. A long-standing right to be judged by a dozen of your peers, good and true. And also just bringing it back around to DOJ, who obviously protest in support of PAL action. At the last moments, at the 11th hour, in PAL action's appeal against their prescription, a judge who is normally seen as being very thoughtful and fair where the law is concerned has been replaced by three evidently pro-Israel judges. So yeah, shenanigans happening, and where our rights are concerned, we should all be seriously alarmed. Let's just give a shout out again, actually. So that's Pete. Both were at Westminster Magistrates yesterday in separate groups. Pete's pled not guilty. And as for Moishe on Toast, another legend. Let's just we can watch the testimony video again, because it's not very long, but this is what happened when they went to court yesterday, taken from the night before in this really good testimony.
Hi, my name is Moishe, and tomorrow I'll be travelling from my home in Dundee to Westminster Magistrates Court to enter a plea after being charged as a terrorist. I was arrested and charged for holding a cardboard sign while peacefully and lawfully protesting in August. So far, the Crown Prosecution and District Judge Michael Snow have indicated that my trial will be pushed forward, despite the judicial review of the law I was protesting being ongoing, and also will not let me litigate its lawfulness as part of my defence. They've also indicated that more than 200 protesters who are also being charged as terrorists will have to share half a day of trial between 5 of us. That's around half an hour each to go through evidence, witness statements, cross-examination, prosecution and defence arguments. This absolute farce of a fair trial is not only deeply unjust to us protesters, who, again, were engaged in lawful and peaceful protest, which is a protected right of free speech in this country. It's actually antithetical to our democracy. Choosing to rush these trials through, the state has shown its hand. It intends to use the existing legal framework available to silence dissent and curtail our rights. Because of this, I've chosen not to comply with court procedure and will be risking further arrest and a charge of contempt of court. Instead of entering a plea, I will express my disdain for the treatment of our protected rights and the UK's ongoing support for ethnic cleansing in Palestine by reading aloud a list of more than 18,000 names. Names of children murdered by Israel, by genocide and under apartheid. Please share this video if you care about democracy, freedom of speech and opposing genocide.
Well done, Moishe. Yes, dissent in court. I can reveal anybody who wasn't on yesterday's live stream that the security guards removed Moishe away, so there wasn't a contempt of court charge. And yeah, more details to come. Don't forget, people, we'll be at the Manchester Defend Our Juries protest this coming Saturday with some exclusive footage. I've got something else to say about what's coming up this weekend later on in the stream, but I'll just stay on topic for now. Yeah, that was just for anybody who didn't catch it yesterday, because I think that was particularly brave from one of our regular viewers there. Well done, Moishe. Want to stay on a positive note as well. Just a very quick bit of something I forgot to, didn't have time really. That is to bring you yesterday on the stream. Another positive result in court, this time for Animal Rising. You might remember a few years back, did a non-violent action at the Grand National. Some of them were arrested for trying to enter the grounds. I think a few of them actually got onto the grounds and were arrested, but the trial has been dropped. I was in fact once in Manchester. You might remember a while back I shared with you on My Left Eye Looks Back about a time there was a spraying action at Manchester Met, and I was doing court support for Ruby, who did that action, with someone from AR who actually took part in this. So we were there for obviously quite a while, as you are, doing police station support. And yeah, he's a really nice guy. I can totally get why they did that. I do support animal rights, of course. And jump racing, especially like that, I think we need to take some serious action on. So well done. Another positive result from Animal Rising. Quite surprising as well, I actually thought. Because the thing is, I mean, it goes to show your democratic and legal rights for one thing. Also, where the more prolific non-violent direct actions are concerned at big events. There's the Grand National, for example. During my time in JSO, there was all sorts going on. Twickenham Stadium, there was obviously the Sunflowers soup thing, museums everywhere, all kinds of sporting events. Sometimes there's a lot of public pressure with those, but well done, Animal Rising. Okay, unfortunately moving on to something not so positive now, where our rights are concerned. As it gets increasingly draconian, especially where protest laws are concerned as well. I'll just bring in some background music once more. As we'll start with where this pertains to PAL action. It's a Guardian article. This is very worrying. Again, this is close to home. I'm just going to remove some adverts and other drivel. Yeah, Coke and there we go. Good clear view of the article. Unusual last-minute change means panel of 3 will now hear the case rather than Justice Chamberlain, who was scheduled to be the judge in this. It is a monumental case, this, concerning the prescription of PAL action. Let's see what's happening. Justice Chamberlain had granted permission for the judicial review and said that he would preside over the trial, but it's emerged that a panel of 3 different judges will instead hear the case, which is due. Well, it actually did start today. This is at the Royal Courts of Justice. There were supporters outside. Quite a few people I know in London were down there. It's unusual for a judge to be replaced, as Chamberlain was last Wednesday, so close to the hearing date. It's also very telling as well. Might I add. But the article says, although it also happened to him earlier this year in the legal challenge to the UK's sale of F-35 aircraft parts to Israel. Of all the things, these 2 cases that mustn't be linked by anything whatsoever, he's been replaced at the last moment. What a coincidence. Whatever scale you want to put dystopia on, it just definitely went up at least one notch. Maybe two. Probably two. Asked why he'd been taken off the case, the Ministry of Justice referred to the Guardian to the Justice Press Office, which refused to comment. Tayyab Ali, a partner at the law firm Bindmans, which is not involved in the Palestine Action case but acted in the F-35 judicial review, said, quote, "A sudden and unexplained shift from the single judge who already had conduct of the case to an entirely new panel of three is deeply concerning, particularly without any stated justification." Obviously, he'll already be familiar with a lot of the technical sides of the case. You can take it from me, somebody who I haven't been on a jury trial, but I've been on trial from a non-violent direct action. I've had acquittals and convictions. That it takes a while. It can be, if you're in a very large group as well, depending on the case and the complexity of what happened and your defence, etc. It really can drag on. So having a judge that has already been through all of those processes is just one of the advantages. And this reeks. This really is telling. This really is telling. And we should be worried about... I mean, they were in PMQs absolutely milking the fact that the former Welsh leader of reform was sentenced to 10 years for betraying his country on behalf of Russia. Surely this has to come under the same sort of category. So the new representative, sponsored by Israel, of the High Court King's Bench Division will be Dame Victoria Sharp, Mr. Justice Steyn, and Mr. Justice Swift. Mr. Justice Swift. Not... okay. Mr. Justice Swift. There's so much going on at the moment. It's hard to keep up. I did almost forget to mention as well, concerning PAL Action, there's another ongoing trial over PAL Action supporters who carried out an action at one of the Elbit Systems factories, and there's an allegation of assault against a police officer. I don't know if you were aware of that one. That is still ongoing. I'll keep you up to speed with that. Should just point out and highlight again that that is, of course, an allegation. The case is still ongoing. Back to this one. It also highlights here just how unorthodox this is, because instead of just simply keeping the previous judge and adding the others, he's been completely removed from the process. Can't be explained. And again, should be increasing. So yeah, the F-35 exports case and now this, obviously both concerning Israel and the illegal occupation of Palestine. It's like something out of I don't know, a law-based drama, film or TV series. So please do what you can to highlight this, because this is beyond dystopian. And I've got another example here. You probably heard about this one. The right to trial by jury could be almost completely removed, apart from a few cases. I've never actually, like I said, had a trial by jury. All of my cases were at magistrates' courts. The conviction, for anyone who's curious, was for criminal damage. Myself and a friend of mine may have done something considered a bit naughty to a bank. I'd noticed that as well, Floor Snake. How the BBC website's trying to manufacture consents for a dodgy legal decision with a weird touchy-feely thing about this alleged, air quotes, sledgehammer victim, but zero facts. I've seen the video that they released. Prior to that, I had heard it being described, or read it in a website article on, like the one you're referring to. But then upon seeing the video, I thought, well, I couldn't even make out where this alleged sledgehammer attack happened. All you pretty much see are two people being apprehended and handcuffed while they're on the floor. You don't particularly hear any huge ruckus or, as is described, huge shrieks or whatever it is, because the way that they described it was like it was something out of a horror film or something. And I think I watched it 3 or 4 times. And we'll wait to see, but yeah, pretty much full-on hyperbole perhaps from the P.O.V yet again. Keep up to speed with those cases. Sorry about that. Very loud vehicle passing nearby. Tonight's stream comes from a different junction of Manchester Ring Road every evening. Tonight's junction... No, I'm not joking. Where were we? Oh, yes. Oh, of course, getting our rights to jury removed from our civil liberties. What a time to be alive. Here he is. So, right to a jury trial will only be guaranteed for defendants facing rape, murder, manslaughter or other cases passing a public interest test. An internal government briefing produced by the MOJ for all other Whitehall departments confirms the plan to create a new tier of juryless courts in England and Wales. I think that's, again, utterly I don't know which of these two is the worst. Perhaps equal. And this certainly isn't in the interest of justice. At the moment, they're hypothetical but unpublished plans. That's according to Brian Levison, who's a retired Court of Appeal judge. But he also added that substantial structural change is essential and said our criminal justice system is at a crisis point. Well, it's been weeks from collapse on several occasions now. This can't be allowed to happen. Seriously. New marsupial court, yeah, kangaroos, whatever it might be. Of course, the term kangaroo court comes from when there was a shortage of judges and they'd move from courtroom to courtroom several times and preside over multiple cases at once, hopping from court to court, hence kangaroo courts, and they're all quickly and unfairly judged, of course, as a consequence, just by cutting corners. A little bit of judicial history there for you on my left eye. It's quality streaming, people. But let us know how disgusted you are by this, just to get serious. I can't see what it's in aid of. I can't think off the top of my head what they might even tell us that this does to help out the already fragile and crumbling judicial system. But that remains to be seen. It's just something that's been proposed at the moment. It's nothing's in writing. So people of Tottenham, remember this kind of thing the next time David Lammy wants your votes, whether that will be in 2029 or sooner. I dare say sooner. Utterly appalling. Alright, people. Over we go then. To this space. More streams to come on my left eye, of course, later in the week. But for this evening, that's all from me. Take care, people. My left eye will be seeing you soon. Free Palestine, Sudan, Yemen, and power to the people.